Another week goes by, another week where SEC baseball is really good. Yes, please. Thank you.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skin are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
Yes, squad up. Let's go. The SEC baseball squad back at you. I'm Zach Blackerby, host Locked On Auburn. Stephen Willis, host Locked On Ole Miss. Eric Kane, host Locked On Vols. John Neighbors, host Locked On Razorbacks. And we really appreciate you tuning in. I'm just kidding. Chris Marler also here with us. He hosts Locked On Gamecocks. Give us a quick update of your team and what they did since we last spoke. Gentlemen, John Neighbors, you lead us off.
Yeah, Arkansas decided to be weird and start losing games they shouldn't have, and it started to really be concerning. Lost a game and got smoked by in-state rival. I don't even call them that, Arkansas State, in the midweek. But then they dropped their first game to UT Arlington at home, which was unacceptable. Even boo birds started coming out there in Razorback Stadium. But hey, took care of business. They won the next two games. For some reason, didn't move at all in the D1 poll of number 6. So I'll take it. They'll be all right, but they got some work to do.
Were you part of the boo birds, John Neighbors?
I cannot confirm or deny.
All right. Breaking news: Jimmy Stein, host of Locked On Bama, also with us. Welcome in, Jimmy.
Great hair
to have you. Eric Kane, give us an update on your Vols.
Yeah, last we all talked, it was a series loss to the mighty Golden Flashes of Kent State, but they rebounded. Got the big win over Bellarmine in the midweek last week, and took it on the chin to number 1 UCLA. Tennessee actually battled back. It was a one-run game in the 7th, and UCLA scored 6 runs in the 7th, but dropped that one in Arlington at Globe Life Field, but then had wins over Arizona State and Virginia Tech. Offense, not great over the weekend, but the pitching was really solid, especially in those last 2 wins. So feeling better about Tennessee leaving the weekend after facing some pretty good competition.
Chris Marler gives an update on South Carolina.
They won all their games, and they're probably going to win the World Series, not just for college baseball, but probably the MLB as well, if they're given the chance.
If they never lose a game, maybe so.
Well, they did lose to Queens, which was tough, and especially because that team was 0-17 all time against Power 4 teams, and was 9-44 a season ago. And if you're keeping score at home, that's pretty bad. Yeah, history is a good way to look at it.
That's crazy.
Then they played Clemson this weekend, and the cool thing about that was that they won the first game, which did what Neighbors hates more than anything, is give hope. Mm-hmm. And they just dangled in front of us, and I ate it up, and then they lost their next 2 games, and the suck has returned. So there you go.
Yeah. All right. Jimmy Stein, Locked On Bama. Last time we spoke, Alabama was a bit of a heater. Where are we now?
Kind of hard to say. The record's pretty good. Some of the wins are good. Some of the players have been really good. The best player on the team, Justin LeBron, is one of the best players in the country. He's off to a great start. A couple of the pitchers look great. It's kind of one of those things where the record looks good. 2 of the 3 losses, they're 9-3. 2 of the 3 losses are to teams that are likely to be in the NCAA tournament at the end. So you're not talking about bad losses. There's just a feeling that it's a little bit of a house of cards and that it's kind of being held together with glue and spit. The competition this week, 2 midweeks, and then North Florida comes to Tuscaloosa. Good chance there'll be 5 more wins, and a good chance I'm telling you guys the same thing next Monday, that the record looks good. Several things look good, but it doesn't feel like everything's clicking or that the team is great. A little worried about SEC competition showing up. But overall, you got to like the record, and some of the players, 3 to 6 hitters and a couple of starting pitchers, look really good early.
Glue and spit? Was that gross for anyone else? Or
hot. I just put in the thread. Love that.
All right, cool. I don't Making sure we're all on the same page there. Stephen Willis,
glue and spit would work, come to think of it.
Yeah, how does that? Yeah, I'm not unfamiliar with the science there.
Anyway, I don't know how I follow that, but
just go.
Ole Miss had a weird weekend. They had a game which the pitchers struck out 20 Baylor Bears that they lost because a player golfed a fastball outside low into the Crawford boxes in Houston, Texas. You ended up going to extra innings and lost the game because in college baseball, by the way, in extra innings, the Manfred runner on second base is now a thing. So get ready for that, everybody. So that happened against Ohio State. That is what you expect, garbage program. And then in the game against Coastal Carolina, they just completely no-showed. And that one was concerning because they had errors in the field. Dom Decker hit 2 home runs. He had never hit a collegiate home run before last week, and now he's hit 4. And I'm worried that going into SEC baseball, it's kind of like Willie Mays Hayes from Major League 2, to where it's just going to start going to the warning track to where he's hitting home runs to trying to all the time. But good player offensively. He was the star, him and Tristan Becerra, Clemson transfer. But I think they were in a weird place. They went 1-2 for the weekend. Hopefully they can turn it around this weekend.
Yeah. And then just quick update on Auburn. They, typical midweek weirdness, needed a walk-off to beat West Georgia. Fortunately, Auburn was on the good side of that. And then they won the second and third game after losing the Friday game against Nebraska in extras, but they ended up winning that series. They just kind of forced Nebraska. They just ran out of pitching, which was great. It was great down the stretch there. And so I think that's definitely a big difference when an SEC team is playing even a solid team from another conference, is just the pitching depth in the SEC seems to be elite.
Is anybody else not shocked that Arkansas didn't drop? It's not like I was rooting for it, but like 2-2, like on the week, I'm shocked that and they didn't beat anybody like of importance over the weekend.
I thought they were 2-3. Was it 2-2 or 2-3?
It was 2-2. So
they should have been. The one of the 2 wins was a 1-0 win over UTA, which is, that's not super great.
I think it's still called a win. No.
Yeah, no. Listen, you didn't drop in the polls, so there's nothing to be feisty with us about. You're living in good graces here, buddy. I'm just saying, if you, of the most negative of all of us here, neighbors, you're telling me you were happy with the 1-0 win over UTA?
Yes, because it's a win.
Okay.
That is a newfound
in baseball, John Neighbors is so different than any other form of John Neighbors. It's so weird.
Yeah.
It's springtime. He's already gone through football and basketball season. By the time you get to spring, it's like,
Yeah. Listen, I enjoy winning at something sometimes, it's fun over here. So hopefully it can keep up. But it is funny just because, they have some really good players and they're trying to figure out the pitching rotation. They have their Sunday guy end up with Colin Fisher. That guy's incredible. May move him to the ace spot and move around a guy like Gabe Gackle. So they got so much talent. It's just a matter of just putting it all together. So I'm not worried. It's just more of a little bit frustrating, especially losing to Arkansas State. Like, that's terrible. That's awful.
Yeah.
Can't
imagine that. Can't imagine that for sure. All right. So there's a thing that we've talked about several times. All of y'all, half of y'all mentioned it. Let's touch on that in just a moment. Right here on the SEC Baseball Squad.
Glue and spit.
Yep, that's right. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at Indeed. Raise your hand if you love Indeed. Here's a stat that says everything. Over the next minute, companies like yours have made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. Chris Marler, quick reaction to that fact.
Love that. Also, just realized I've been reading the wrong ad reads this week, so it's a tough night for me.
All right. Yep, that tracks. Listeners of this show can get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. That is Indeed.com/podcast. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Chris Marler, redeem yourself. Give me a line, courtesy of FanDuel.
Ooh, tomorrow in basketball, Georgia is a 1.5-point favorite over Alabama, and that is shocking for a number of reasons, but also because the money line is turned off currently on FanDuel, so they're begging you to take Georgia.
Interesting. Auburn, an 8.5-point favorite against LSU.
It's down to half a point, by the way. Half a point.
Eric, don't correct me in front of everybody, please.
Half a point.
He's been through enough.
Yeah.
He's been through enough on this show already. Head over to FanDuel.com to get started. They also have parlay profit boost for a lot of different things regarding college basketball right now. FanDuel.com. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you so much for making all of our shows your first listen every single day. We really, really appreciate it. Something that a lot of you guys said is talking about, okay, but when conference play starts. Well, this is last weekend before conference play starts. Jimmy, I know you touched on it. Who else kind of wants to see a little bit more from their team before conference play starts? It's sneaking up on us. Stephen Willis, take it away. What do you want to see?
Yeah. I want to see them be able to field the ball in the infield. Whenever they lose, it's usually because of self-inflicted wounds. It's usually throwing errors, which is completely, I don't know. I'm not going to say unacceptable, but it's pretty not acceptable.
Yeah.
And I don't like 3 outcome hitting. Ole Miss likes to play the Mike Bianco, the Skip Burtman from when he was at LSU, the gorilla ball from time to time. And you don't see them manufacturing runs. You want to have some dirt bags in your lineup. Against Coastal Carolina, the 3 outcome stuff just came to fruition in a horrible way. That needs to be corrected because the pitching is going to be much better when SEC teams roll into town.
Eric, I think you raised your hand too. What do you want to see from Tennessee before conference play starts?
Offense. I mean, good Lord. Tennessee's hitting 268 in these non-conference games. I mean, that's not good enough in SEC play. I mean, again, like you beat VT, not a very good team, 3-1. You beat Arizona State, who I think is an actual good team, but it's 5-3. I mean, Tennessee scored 13 runs in 3 games last weekend. Need to score more runs. A couple different guys got to step up. This super sophomore class Tennessee has, perfect game rate of them, top class in the country and all that. I mean, they got to come along right now. So obviously it's a long season, off to slow starts, but you got Wright State this weekend. Then you're at Georgia. I think you're at Georgia, but yeah, I'd like to see some more offense.
They're last in the SEC in runs scored so far. I think it was like 68.
Yeah, I can believe
crazy.
it.
It's one more for a successful season, right?
Be nice for sure. Anybody else want to add anything they want to see from their team before conference play starts?
I wouldn't mind firing Paul Maneri. I know that sounds crazy because it's so early, but like at 7-5, and you start looking at this, they got to play USC Upstate on Tuesday. Which, as a former Georgia College State University Bobcat, you better not lose to them because we didn't. That was Division II. They better win 2-0 or go 2-0 in the midweek. They have Princeton this weekend, and as long as it's not an academic decathlon, they should probably win that. But 5 of their first 6 weekend series in the SEC are going to be against top 10 opponents, and that's probably the same for a lot of teams around the SEC because it's kind of par for the course.
Sure. Right.
But with how bad South Carolina is, I don't know how long you let this thing play out with Maneri, because it's just at some point you also need to show the fans like, hey, we hear you. This does suck. Here you go.
Are y'all surprised that Vandy is also 7-5 with South Carolina at the bottom of the league? Is that surprising to anyone else?
They're never going to go west of the Mississippi River ever again. It is it's so bad.
That's why Corey isn't here. Okay.
Brutal.
That makes sense.
Weekend.
Brutal.
I mean, we bullied them pretty bad like the first time we did this. We were nicer last week. Yeah, maybe we scared them off. I don't know.
Who would have thought the Vanderbilt guy doesn't want to come on during baseball season, but he was pretty loud during football season.
Yeah.
Who would have guessed that this is the world we're living in?
Yeah.
A world made of glue and spit.
Jimmy, I hate it. I hate it so much. I'm so uncomfortable when you say that. Of these teams that, I mean, a lot of these teams on paper have that good record. Jimmy was talking about that earlier. Texas 10-0, Florida 11-1, LSU 11-1. However, we're recording this on Monday night. That may be changing. Is it still 10-0?
It's 10-1. LSU scored.
All right, yeah, we'll see
Fourth
what
inning
happens.
Down 10-1.
Yes, in like the 6th inning.
Thank God I didn't go to that game. Okay, that's good.
Yeah, Mississippi State 11-1, A&M 10. I mean, are of these teams, which one of these are you guys saying like, I don't know if I'm buying that. I mean, even Missouri, who was kind of deemed as the worst team in the conference, they're 10-2 right now.
I'm not buying Missouri. I'll just go ahead. I don't know anything about that team. I'm not buying Missouri.
I'm with you. I'm just asking the question.
Missouri is not real. LSU's probably, you're not going to win it every week, but LSU, I think there's 2, 3, even 4 teams in the SEC that could win the national championship.
Yeah.
And I know this is going to sound weird coming from me, but Mississippi State,
they're very good.
They're pretty good.
I watched Mississippi State play twice in person this weekend, and I thought they were so overranked in preseason. It's pretty good. I didn't see their entire staff.
They play somebody good this week, don't they?
They played a bunch of people good this week. Oh, you mean this upcoming week?
Well, they just played UCLA. On Sunday.
And that's
they go to Southern Miss tonight, Tuesday.
Number 10 Southern Miss.
Yeah, that's not even a midweek. That's a trap. That's an ambush.
Yeah, Alabama played at Southern Miss last Tuesday and got whacked pretty good, but then went to Texas and beat Iowa. They beat ranked Oregon State, lost to Houston. Southern Miss is better than all 3 of those Power 4 teams.
I believe
it's hard not to get whacked pretty good with glue and spit, but I will tell you that also that Mississippi State, one of 2 teams in the SEC that has 1 loss on the year. Because if Mississippi State wins that game against UCLA when they're up 5-3, if they don't give up a bomb to Rock Chalosky or however you say his name, we're probably talking about them a little bit differently. I think what I'm most impressed with them is going into after the first weekend, they hit 236 against Hofstra opening weekend, and now they are second in the SEC in batting average overall. Obviously, I think the arms are going to be fine. So they are still a very, very good team. Texas is like the most under the radar elite team in the country. And I know that it's early on, and I know they haven't played the same gauntlet that a lot of other teams have had. And I also know that I don't love giving Texas a lot of credit for anything. But them being one of 3 teams in the country that are still undefeated, and you talk about their 11 wins, I think it's 8 out of the 11. They've given up 2 runs or less on the mound. They've been very, very good.
All right. Anything else from anybody specifically before we wrap this one up?
Since everybody wants to know more about Tennessee, I tip the cap to the pitching, man. Like I talked about the offense earlier, which good players are gonna figure it out, right? I mean, this pitching, regardless, is going to keep Tennessee in every game, allow Tennessee to play catch up offensively. The 3 starters, were they perfect this past weekend? No, but man, they all pitched into the 6th inning. Tegan Coons, when he got hit hard, but boy, did he look good with 10 strikeouts against UCLA. And Blanco on Sundays, he's got some control issues, but he's given up 2 combined runs the last 2 starts. Landon Mack's been good. The bullpen outside of Brandon Darvinson, who's their top bullpen arm, got roughed up against UCLA. Then they threw some scrubs to. I don't want to say scrubs. They threw some younger arms to save the bullpen, but the bullpen was great the rest of the weekend. I'm a big fan of Tennessee's pitching staff. I think that there's a lot more firepower last year, but I think this is going to be a much better staff top to bottom.
I've been really pleased with Auburn's starting pitching as well. I do think they get a little bit more vulnerable the deeper in games, which I'm a little surprised with because coming into the season, I really like some of their relievers. I'm really just basing that off of the Nebraska series, so probably shouldn't overreact to that as much, but definitely something worth noting.
I'll tell you one team that's not getting enough love, and it's probably also because they have not played anyone yet, and that's Georgia. But Georgia went into this past week tied for first in the SEC in home runs with 23. They now have 38, which is 10 more than any other team in the conference. They're also top 5 in the SEC in ERA as a staff. And again, they have not played anyone great, but they're going to hit the ball really, really well always with that head coach. And the bigger thing too is the 2 kids they got from Stanford out of the transfer portal on the mound. They have both been very, very good so far. So it'll be interesting to see when they actually start playing some actual competition. But they look really, really good so far, especially offensively.
So when are they leaving Williamsport?
Very fair. I don't think they've left home. They have. I mean, they are Macaulay Culkin right now in Athens, Georgia. I don't know if they have an ankle monitor or as they probably should with some of the players on that football team. But I mean, my God.
Wow. Yeah, they literally have played every game at home. You're right.
It's crazy.
All right. Good stuff.
Land on the ankle monitor. All right, cool.
Yeah.
I laughed, man. You had two
Yeah, that
digs
was
in there.
great,
That one
Marler.
little
Absolutely.
take.
That's Chris Marler, host of Locked On Gamecocks. Jimmy Stein, host of Locked On Bama. John Neighbors, host of Locked On Razorbacks. Eric Kane of Locked On Vols. Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss. I'm Zach Blackerby. I host Locked On Auburn. Thanks for tuning in to the SEC Baseball Squad.
Fire Stephen Pearl.
Whoop it.
Man, what?